Look how shallow these cold water bass are. I filmed this when the water temps were in the low 40s over 2 different winters. In both situations, the bass are holding in and around 2 feet of water or less. Now, it's important to note that while they are shallow, they are also moving quite slowly. I like to use the terminology swimming in jello. You would think I filmed this footage in slow motion, but it's not. Cold water bassing is challenging for us as anglers because of the conditions that we are dealing with. Those fish will still eat when that water is cold. Granted, they don't need to eat as much, but they do. So this is the time of year when we really need to focus on what types of areas will the bass congregate in and what types of lures are so tempting they take a swipe at them. Well, first and foremost, I always try to find some moving water this time of year. And keep in mind, the moving water doesn't have to be a lot. If you are fishing rivers, lots of them right now, especially my area, barely have any flow. Finding an area that has a little stronger current can be a bass magnet. In lakes and reservoirs, finding those inflows can be the difference between no fish and a day you won't soon forget. Now this winter, I'm going to be traveling to the southeast and hopefully fishing 3, maybe 4 different lakes. I want to go to Lake Lanier, Hartwell, Lake Murray, and Santee Cooper, all in the same trip. So believe it or not, I'm already doing a little lake research since my days on the water up here are getting limited. Well, let's look at what is happening on Lake Murray right now. The first thing I'm going to do is select stream flow and look towards the upper end. I like fishing the upper end of reservoirs when the water is cooler because those inflows I feel can make a bigger impact when there is less water than somewhere, let's say, like the lower end. Now that means those impacts may be felt more in either a positive or negative way, and we'll talk about that in a second. But right here, you can see as of today that there are 2 areas that have a decent amount of flow coming into the reservoir. And it's important to keep note that these areas may get real shallow, and in spots we can hardly get into. But the effect of the moving water should be present in this entire creek channel. But here's where it gets tricky. When we get to the water clarity overlay, there's enough flow coming in that these creeks are probably a little murkier than I want right now. So if I was fishing here today, I would likely follow these out to where the water is a little cleaner and start looking for smaller inflows. These tiny inflows could be from something as simple as a drainage tile. The movement of water on a larger scale in the creek arm, coupled with the smaller pinpoint location of a tiny runoff area, can mean we are in a higher percentage location than if there is no current flow. It's kind of that spot within a spot mentality. And most likely I would do some idling around to try and find some of these smaller, more pinpoint locations before I pick up a rod and start fishing. So let's say we are lucky enough to actually find a fairly clean flow when the water temps are cold. What lures are a good starting place? Well, it's important to note that if we have the moving water located, that it's going to attract all kinds of life to the area, so hopefully we have a few options. When the water is cool, my first choice is often a finesse jig. Bass just eat jigs all year. And in cold water, it is easy to fish or drag a jig nice and slow so that it presents that vulnerable meal that is easy to catch. Of course, offerings like your Ned rigs will work well too. And if I am lucky enough to find a concentration of fish and the water movement is covering a large enough area, it's hard to beat a suspending jerkbait. Remember when we showed those shallow cold water fish in the beginning of the video? That is what I hope to find with that jerkbait. Thank you to the Deep Dive app for sponsoring this video. You can find out more information about them on the Google Play Store, the Apple Store, or you can follow that link down below. And hey, if you would like to watch a video that discusses and investigates that question, is a heavier wobble head going to give you more action than a lighter one? We do a side-by-side comparison. Go ahead and check this video out right here, and make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.